now time to examine Saudi Arabia's pivotal role in shaping football's future. This fireside chat brings together the Ministry of Sport to discuss strategic initiatives, investments, and regional developments, positioning the kingdom as a hub for football around the world. Please welcome to the stage Ibrahim Al-Moaiqel, Assistant Deputy of Minister for Investment and Privatization from the Ministry of Sports. And this chat will be moderated by Ben Jacobs from Talk Sports. Thank you.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to World Football Summit in Riyadh. It's great to have Ibrahim alongside me. My name is Ben Jacobs, sports broadcaster at TalkSport. The pressure of the opening session, it's great to see there's a full house. If you are at the back, please come and take a seat. And I'm really looking forward to the next 25 minutes or so. So, Ibrahim, before we get into privatization, let's set the scene. Tell me about this fast-paced evolution of Saudi sport and where you think we are currently at in its journey.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Ben. First of all, it's great to be with you all today. Thanks to Jan, Majid, and everyone at the World Football Summit for putting another edition together and an exceptional edition this year in Riyadh. Look, Ben, the reality is today, thanks to the leadership of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, and his blueprint for the national transformation journey in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia has no doubt today become the fastest and most exciting sports countries in the world. Now, if we take a step back a bit, 9 years ago, if you were in Saudi and you wanted to attend a major event or sports competition, you had to travel abroad. Today, Saudi people are lost and confused with all the options. Formula One, Dakar, the Super Cups, tennis, and many more around the corner with AFC, Asian Games, as well as the crown jewel of the World Cup in 2034. But it's not just events. Imagine that also 9 years ago, 13% of the population in Saudi Arabia was practicing sport. Today, it's quadrupled to 59% of Saudi people participating in sport on a weekly basis. And that's a testament to the growth trajectory of how much the nation is moving. Beyond that, we've seen rapid developments across football, the league, and many different areas. But I think the key message is there's been immense growth, immense development, and because of that immense development, there's also been a massive sports economy that's been created and across the entire value chain. And we've seen the private sector really see the sports sector as prime for investment. The number of licensed gyms, academies, and sports businesses has grown tremendously from 1,000 just a few years ago to exceeding 4,000 this year. The sports sponsorship market has grown tremendously with big brands wanting to enter sports in different ways. And I think it's a virtuous cycle, and we're at a pivotal point in that development.
Because people outside of Saudi might think it's about staging elite level sport, but what you're saying there is this is about building an ecosystem, not just from the top down, but from grassroots up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So today there's movement across the entire ecosystem. When it comes to football, maybe because the World Cup is such a huge headline, Ronaldo's such a huge headline, sometimes it's hard to notice some of the really important shifts and developmental initiatives that are happening on the ground. The Football Federation over the past few years has launched and changed the youth competition systems, much like my colleague Lemia mentioned. More competitions, more categories of youth. There's been major initiatives to create talent identification systems through initiatives like Mahd Academy. But we've also seen immense growth at the league level, which you'll hear a bit more from Omar later, that showcase that the entire ecosystem is ripe for development and for investment, and we believe that this system that we're developing and designing is a system designed to last. So it must be developed at every aspect of the ecosystem.
So let's focus a little bit more on football and privatization. It's a word that we've heard a lot about over the last few years. Before we get into the details, maybe just explain, because there might be people in the audience from outside of Saudi Arabia unfamiliar with the process. What is privatization and why is it important?
Yeah, sure. So specifically in Saudi Arabia, historically, sports clubs or major sports clubs were government funded and sitting on government assets. And throughout the years, there's been many initiatives led by the league and the ministry and various players to develop clubs, technically, management and governance, and commercially, to professionalize them, to ensure that they are contributing to sports objectives, but also developing in a sustainable way. Now, privatization is a program that has been launched a couple of years ago, which aims to partner with investors to divest clubs for investors, where they would take on the full ownership of a Saudi club and operate them. Until today, we've privatized 11 clubs, 4 major clubs to PIF, another 4 with Diriyah, Neom, Al-Ula, and Al-Qadisiyah to major national companies, and more recently 3 pure private sector investors owning Al-Ansar, Al-Zilfi, and Al-Khulud Club, which I think you'll hear from Ben earlier. We have more in the pipeline, currently tendering a few more opportunities and more on the way.
And you mentioned Al-Khulud and Ben Harburg. That's a very interesting case study because that's the first majority-owned foreign investor taking charge of a Saudi club. Why is that important? And does that open the door potentially to further investment from outside of Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely. So what we believe is privatization is not an objective of in itself. Our objective is not to sell off our clubs. Our objective is to partner with people that have the know-how to develop and operate clubs sustainably for better football, better governance and management, and better commercial outcomes. So when it comes to Ben has an investment background, but he also owns a club in Spain. He comes with a good know-how on how to operate clubs efficiently and effectively, and we've seen that in a very short amount of time, he was able to make a really game-changing impact on his club. They've qualified to the semifinals of the King's Cup, a historic achievement for their club. But more importantly, he's putting the steps in place to develop his club sustainably and commercially, focusing on academies that in the end will also serve our objectives of having a stronger national team and fostering a more sustainable ecosystem.
So what does the future roadmap for privatization look like?
Sure. So look, we believe that the Saudi market, when it comes to football, is very attractive in terms of investment. And we've noticed that after launching the privatization program, we've seen immense demand from investors, both local and international. And the reality is, with the major investments happening at the league level, the league only a few years ago was broadcast in a few countries. Today it's broadcast in over 180 countries. The sports sponsorship market has grown significantly. There's also major initiatives and support programs that Saudi Arabia offers clubs that make it fundamentally very attractive investment. And so the next phase for us is, how do we continue to find the right partners for the right clubs to create strong success stories for how clubs can continue to be professionalized for better management, better football, and better sustainability.
Perhaps speak in a bit more detail about the process and what the criteria is for a prospective investor, because again, several people may have flown in for this conference from outside of Saudi Arabia. They might have brought their wallet, and they might be quite interested in investing in Saudi Arabia. So what type of investor are you looking for?
Great. So as it pertains to the process, so the Ministry of Sport works very closely with the National Center of Privatization. The National Center of Privatization looks after privatizing assets across different industries. And together with the NCP, we have a process of initially qualifying certain investors, to inviting them to tendering. In some cases, clubs will be public tenders where investors can come in and provide their proposals on how they would take on the club. In other cases, there will be invited tenders. And what we look for from investors is not just the capital. There's no shortage of capital around the world. What we look for is the right know-how and the right technical plan to develop those clubs. We believe that the clubs are delivery bodies to support our sporting objectives, and therefore it's important for us to ensure that the investors have a strong plan on how to develop the club, and not to see it as a vanity asset, but really to see it as an organization that can produce productive football outcomes, but also commercial outcomes.
Yeah, you use that phrase, vanity, and I think a lot of people look at the Saudi Pro League and see the stars and see the investment and see the commitment from the Ministry of Sport and other entities, and they do at times wrongly think that it's about glitz and glamour, but part of the strategy is also about sustainability, grassroots football, women's football, getting a financial return on investment as well. So define for me, from your perspective in your role, what are the KPIs for success in privatization?
Yeah, so for us, again, we use privatization as a tool for development. And so what we look after, what we think would be this is one tool among many tools and initiatives that the ecosystem is developing. I think success for us would be better clubs, more competitive clubs, which would help the league be a more competitive league as well, and more sustainable clubs as well. But more than that, also clubs that are contributing to our ambitions of having a competitive national team and having a clear pathway from their academies to our national teams.
If we think about the future, we know that 2 years ago, the Saudi Pro League had its first major summer on the international stage. The privatization, as you alluded to, for the 4 PIF clubs happened as well. What do the next 5 years look like up to Vision 2030, and 9 years look like as we build up to the 2034 World Cup here in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, look, I think the last phase was, there was immense development, massive initiatives, game-changing initiatives, lots of firsts. I think the next phase is continuing to develop and refine the efforts that are happening at all levels, but also ensuring that our system is sustainable, that our system is contributing consistently to sporting outcomes. And as it pertains to privatization, I think we'll see more clubs privatized at all levels, and in the Pro League and the other leagues as well. And we hope that we also see a very strong, competitive and commercially vibrant league, because we think that the Saudi League is no short of any other league in terms of its potential and its fundamentals.
How do you piggyback specifically off the 2027 Asian Cup and the World Cup in 2034?
Yeah, so I think the Football Federation together with the league and the ministry are working really hard, and there's lots of efforts behind the scenes building up to major mega events like the Asian Cup and the World Cup, whether it's around infrastructure or on the national teams, and ensuring there's a pathway of talent that can compete at those competitions. I think the federation is probably very busy now preparing for the 2026 World Cup, and where we hope that while we have a tough group, we hope to compete, and we also hope to learn from the hosts that will host an exceptional edition in its new format with more teams, similar to the Saudi Arabia will host in 2034.
Of course, Saudi Arabia in Qatar beat the defending champions Argentina. That put the national team on the world stage. As you've noted, they're in this current World Cup, coming next summer as well. How excited are you personally to be on this sports journey, not just in football, although that will get a lot of the limelight, but how proud are you at how fast Saudi sport is developing?
Look, honestly, personally, I'm very grateful to be even a small part of this journey. In Saudi Arabia, sport and football is something we breathe, and I think the leadership recognizes the impact of football on our people, and so seeing this growth trajectory is we're very proud of, but we still have a long ways to go, and we believe that the system we're designing is a long-term system built to last, and we look forward to reaching more milestones and building the ecosystem for it to foster really a sustainable outcome from both sport and financially.
And just finally, what is your message to people, particularly maybe that have traveled to this conference from outside of Saudi Arabia, about what makes this sports strategy so unique and so exciting?
Yeah, look, I'll be very frank. There was a time where we had to explain ourselves and sell Saudi sport and why we're doing, etc. Now it's very obvious what we're doing, why we're doing it. Today, I think it's more about what and how you can be part. There are immense opportunities to be part of this growth story, and I encourage you to come with a clear proposal on how you can reap the opportunities that are there, and the opportunities are across the entire ecosystem. So I wish everyone the best. We're welcome to partner with anyone that wants to be part of this journey.
And I have to ask you on a personal note before we end, can the Saudi Pro League rival the Premier League? And perhaps more importantly, can Saudi Arabia in the imminent future win a men's World Cup?
Well, look, I mean, the Premier League is a league we're all fans of as Saudi, and has had a tremendous growth to where it's reached today. Definitely, we're ambitious in Saudi Arabia, and we want to be among the top leagues in the world. But we recognize that it requires consistent efforts across the entire ecosystem to develop step by step. We've seen tremendous, let's say, progress across the main metrics that define what is a successful or a top league. I think we still have a ways to go to reach the Premier League, but definitely we think that the Saudi sports ecosystem can offer something very exciting to fans from all over the world.
Ibrahim, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for your time. Please give him a massive round of applause.
Thank you very
Never
much.
easy doing the first session, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much.